So if you're watching this video on the day, or maybe you found it afterwards, it's now Saturday the 28th of May. It's not actually, but it will be in a couple of weeks' time. I was pre-recording this. And today, I'm embarking on probably one of my toughest ever challenges. If you've seen some of my videos before, I've done challenges such as the David Goggins challenge and the NC 500 challenge on a bike. But today, I'm doing a new challenge that I created called the 110-100 challenge in Bristol, 28th of May. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 ways and methods and steps and tips that I use to overcome hard challenges. And especially if you're going through challenges in life, you can use these things to hopefully help you overcome the challenges and get what you want and get the result in place. My name is James White. I'm a small business sales expert, but today I'm going to be an average bloke doing a challenge to try and raise some money for a brilliant charity. I'm going to share with you the 5 tips that I'm going to use to overcome my challenge today and that you can use to overcome any challenge that life throws at you. So my challenge today is a challenge that I created myself, and it was something I wanted to do because I thought, what could really push me mentally and physically and that could help me raise some money for charity? It's called the 110-100 challenge, and what I'm doing today is swimming for 1 mile, running for 10 miles and then cycling for 100 miles, all within a 24-hour period. As you can probably see from the video, I'm not the slimmest man in the world, so for me to do something like this is going to be a challenge. But I wanted to do it because my mother passed away last May, and I'm doing it to raise some money for a brilliant charity called Marie Curie. And that leads me on to my first point of what I'm going to do to overcome the challenge. The first point is visualise why it matters to you. If you've got a challenge or something that's going on in your life, one of the key things to be able to do is to actually look in yourself and try and shut your eyes and visualise why it matters. And for me personally, when my mum was going through the challenges last year and I was able to get the support, and me and my family got the support of our nurse from Marie Curie, I remember looking at my dad one evening when they told us that this nurse would come back again for the following night. And the look of relief in his face when he knew that he didn't have to care for my mum for that other night just makes me really clear about why I'm doing what I'm doing. So visualise what it is that you're doing this for. What's the reason that this matters to you? Maybe it's something for you to personal, to prove someone wrong, or that someone's told you you can't achieve something, or you've just fed up with life being the way it is. Visualise what it looks like, what the support looks like, what the achievement looks like, what's the critical factor within it, and keep that in mind. Because I know when I'm going through the challenge, I'm just going to think about the way my dad looked at that nurse, and what it would have happened if we hadn't had that person there. And you know what? For other families who are going to go through that difficult time, and it's sad that it is, I want them to feel that they've got support of that nurse, as I and my family did. So point number 1 is this: visualise why it matters to you, and think about what the reasons are for you doing what you're doing. Put those forefront in your mind. When I'm going through my tough challenge today, I'm going to have in my mind, what was tougher, me running 10 miles or someone caring for someone that's dying overnight when they're lacking of sleep? To me, it's a simple equation, and that's what's going to drive me to achieve the challenge in the first place. So point number 2 about any challenge is that you've got to be able to break it down into smaller chunks. So I'm doing a 1 mile swim and a 10 mile run and a 100 mile bike ride, but realistically, I'm actually not going to be doing a 1 mile swim. I'm going to be doing lots of small bits of the park that we're swimming in and break it down into smaller chunks. There was a great saying that someone once said to me, if you're going to eat an elephant at one time, how do you do it? 1 bite at a time. And the same applies with any challenge. So the key thing we encourage you to do is to break down the challenge. If in the case of maybe you've got something to achieve, break it down into maybe 10 or 15 smaller chunks, and then work on being able to get chunk 1 done before you focus on chunk 15 or 20. If you focus on getting the first thing done, you'll be able to get some success, you'll get some dopamine in your brain that says, I've achieved that, and it'll help build momentum for you to then take the next challenge on. So when I'm doing the miles running that I'm doing, I'll be focused not on running 10 miles, but running a mile. Then it'll be a running 2nd mile, then a 3rd mile, and before I know it, I'll suddenly be in a position when the miles have eaten up itself, and I continue to make progress. And that is a great way to overcome any challenge you have. Break it down into 4, 6, 10, whatever the number is, smaller chunks, and focus on the 1 bit to start with rather than the bigger bit. It's going to help you, see that it can be done, and once you do get that task completed, it's going to then make you think, yes, I can get to the next one and the next one, and hopefully get the whole thing completed. So point number 3, when it comes to challenges you can overcome, is set yourself mini targets. What do I mean by mini targets? When I was doing a bike ride last year, when I was riding 500 miles in 7 days, what I did is on the days when I knew I had 100 miles to focus on, I broke down, as I mentioned in the second point, into smaller chunks. But when I had a mini target and I was feeling tired, I'd literally look up and see a lamppost, or I'd see a sign, or I'd see something in front of me, and I'd then literally say to myself, right, you're going to ride quickly until you get to that point. So in other words, I found many things in while I was doing what I was doing that I could use as a mini target to get to. When I got to that point, I'd then have a relax and pat myself on the back and then go again and find another mini target. When I'm running and training, I literally look at lampposts and say, right, I'm going to run to that lamppost, then run to the next lamppost. And those mini targets and many things I can get to make a massive difference. They help you, A, make sure you feel like you've done something, that feeling of dopamine and the hormones in your brain that make you feel like you've achieved something and help in other areas, but also it's a step forward in what you're doing. So if you've got a challenge that you're taking on at the moment, look and see what's the mini target you can focus on. What's the thing that you can get done today that would actually make you feel great? Even in the case of something small, maybe you're sitting in your car worrying about something and you can actually think, right, I can basically, hold my stomach in for 5 seconds. I don't know, whatever it is that you can do as a mini challenge and a mini target that you can then build on will help you deal with the bigger issues out of the way. You can't achieve big things without achieving small things. And the reality is those small little things all mount up and become the factors that enable big challenges to happen. I'm going to use it in when I'm doing my running and my cycling, mini targets, get them done, keep knocking them off, use it in the same way. So create maybe a list, whatever your challenge is, of some mini targets you can do. Maybe it's even something as simple where you can go for 10 minutes without doing something, or maybe if you've got a challenge in a certain area, maybe you've been crying or disappointed, give yourself a challenge to say 5 minutes without crying, I don't know. Whatever it is, set those mini challenges and it can help you then build up some feeling that you can do something and achieve something, and it's going to hopefully build a momentum from there in which you can achieve what you want. Break down the challenge into smaller chunks and then set mini targets to achieve those challenges, and you're in a good place to get going and get the result in place. So point number 4 is a really, really simple one, and it's something you've probably got to do, but it's sometimes difficult when you overcome the challenge, and that's just to tell yourself it's not always going to feel this way. When I'm feeling crap, when I'm struggling, when I'm really challenged by physical exhaustion or mental things, there's always these feelings of everything's wrong. I actually sometimes just tell myself it's not going to feel like this tomorrow. It's not going to feel like this in a week's time. I'm not going to feel like this in 2 weeks time, whatever. It's a period that I'm going through right now, and I actually try and look and enjoy it. I try and see it as a moment in time, at that moment that I'm having that challenge, but it's not always going to be like that. Actually, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I know I can come through this. It's not going to be like this all the time. And when I think like that, and then I also think about the vision and try and think about the little mini targets that I've talked about, suddenly the issue that I had goes away. So be in a position where you can really start to think about what life might be or what the challenge might be in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time. It's not always going to be like this. Sometimes you're at low points, but you'll come back from them. You'll bounce back from those. It's not always going to be that way. Tell yourself that, remind yourself you can overcome it, and use the other elements that I've talked about, and it's going to be another key factor in helping you make the challenge go away. And the 5th and final point is this: progress is progress, no matter how small the steps may seem. I'm always inspired by a brilliant Nelson Mandela quote, which says, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And the reality is when you're going through challenges, it always seems impossible. But the only way you overcome the challenge is another step forward and another step forward and another step forward. And I know when I'm going through my challenge today, there'll be times and moments where I'll think, no, I can't do this. But I know that if I stop, I can't achieve it. But if I keep going, another step forward, another step forward, another step forward, I'll eventually get to where I want to be. Especially if I had my targets and my little mini challenges in place, eventually it will happen. When I've been going through some of my toughest challenges, my toughest moments, I ran a half marathon last year, and again, looking at it, I'm not an athlete in any shape or form, but when I was at my toughest moments, I said to myself, it isn't going to last forever, I'm going to come through this, and actually I kept on moving forward, I kept on trudging forward one step at a time. I made it to the next lamppost, to the next point, and eventually the finish line was there. So remind yourself that if you keep going a step at a time, progress, no matter how small, is still progress. If you focus on doing that one thing, keep going, you'll get the result that you want, and you'll achieve the challenge and you'll overcome that issue. And whatever that challenge is, if you keep going forward in that new direction, the thing of what you want to achieve, you're going to be able to overcome what is thrown at you and deal with it, and you're going to feel so good at the end of it. It's going to feel incredible, and you're going to build that mental resilience that enables you to take anything on. So those are the 5 things I'm going to do to overcome my challenge today. Visualising why it's important, breaking down the challenge into smaller chunks, setting yourself many targets, remembering that it won't always be this way, and the 5th point is knowing that progress, one step at a time, is a closer journey, closer step to where I want to finish. And those 5 things are going to help me today, and I know they're going to help you. If you want to find out about the challenge and you're watching this live and you want to know what's going on, head over to my Instagram channel, James White Sales. I'm going to put loads of videos up there and resources. You're going to see me at my tiredest, at my worst. But you know what? I guarantee you, at the end of the day, I'm going to complete it. Whatever happens, I'm going to get the challenge done because I know how important it will be to raise some brilliant money for a brilliant charity and help other people that need it. And you know what? That feeling alone, helping other people achieve things as well as developing my own ability to overcome another challenge is worthwhile. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you have, great, please like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to put a link in there if you want to donate. We can put a message of thanks on my Facebook page or my Instagram page. That would be brilliant as well. But whatever life throws at you, use these 5 methods to overcome the challenge. If you do, you're going to get results, you're going to build mental strength, you're going to be able to overcome anything and deal whatever life throws at you. My name is James White, small business sales expert. Thanks for watching. See you next Saturday.